You sound good. You sound good.
Test.
I sound pretty good, I feel like, all the time.
Let's get some good throat clearing before.
Oh, that was a good one. That's going out the top. Hey, what is up? Welcome to Uber Unplugged, the official podcast of Uber Entertainment. I'm your host, Uber Entertainment's community manager, Brad Nicholson. Yes, I actually do things here. I have a job. Joined today by art director, Eka. What's up?
Prove it.
I can't. I've done nothing this week. I just sit in my corner in the pit and cry silently.
We did some good puntastic writing this week.
Yeah, that was incredible. We should talk about that when we hit up Toy Rush.
Yep.
But first, introducing Forrest Smith. What's up? First time on the podcast. How you doing?
First time here. How you
First
guys
time
doing?
here. Lovely. We're recording on a Thursday this time, so hopefully the podcast gets to you on a Friday. Sorry about last week, folks, but a lot of editing. I had to put the laugh tracks in. I don't know if that hit. I'm feeling it didn't, but I amused myself while I was editing it, so I don't know if you caught this.
I found it funny.
In post,
I haven't listened to it yet.
every time John said a pun, I put a laugh track on.
Oh.
Every time.
And then the last one is like 40 seconds long.
Yes, it was incredible because it was an awful, awful pun that he said twice. So I feel like that was necessary. No, but thank you, John, for coming on. That was a lot of fun. John's a great guy. He's been around for a while too. Like, he has quite a history in this industry, just like y'all folks as well. I don't know. That was a bad segue, but anyway, let's talk about our projects. So we teased it earlier. Toy Rush, been doing a lot of stuff in that, man.
Right, so we are Polish Pass
Yes.
right now. There's a lot of stuff on the list, and we're going through it one by one. One of the big things we wanted to change was the sort of the fiction approach. I think we might have talked about this in a
I think
previous
we might have touched on it.
podcast,
So, yeah, because nobody will ever see this, so I guess this is a podcast exclusive here. The original pass of the fiction of Toy Rushes. So basically, there's a setup. There's 50 levels, and in each level, we had a little bit of flavor text beforehand. And we went with an idea of having the flavor text be a little girl writing about the house or the person and being kind of smarmy about it. Just kind of setting the scene, basically, and you would see this before every single level.
And on the text to describe that particular Toy Rusher level was from her perspective.
Right. But, like, at the same time, like, I didn't use first or second person. It was always just a really detached little girl, so it didn't hit that well, and it makes sense. Like, when people read it that weren't us, they were like, what?
Yeah. And we never set it up, right? We never introduced who she is.
Yeah, because we didn't want to cause that dissonance between player and character. Like, we wanted that person to be you, but that's, now that I think about it, that was dumb in some ways to go that direction. But it was fun.
Yeah.
And I think it turned out well for what it was. Like, if you were aware of what we were doing, you would have been like, hey, man, that's awesome. But we changed direction completely, like a total... Like, I can't imagine, it's more than a 360. It's like a 1080. That's a lot more than a 360, right? I don't know math.
It's 3 times
That
more.
good.
I think.
Okay, yes.
Let's go with that.
Math.
Back to the same direction, right?
1180? 1120.
1081.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like a thing.
And we actually condensed the text.
Yeah, we did.
It's, I like the approach.
We went more with a, can we talk, you want to talk about it?
Yeah,
We went more with a kind of a vaguely Street Fighter kind of style where every person you're fighting against has a phrase that they say to you. They're a lot more antagonistic. So this is the character talking to you as opposed to you inhabiting a mysterious character.
Yeah, we saw it as the fiction as like you are a toy rusher competing against other toy rushers, like in say Street Fighter or Mike Tyson's Punch Out. So each of those characters, those 50 characters, has a little catchphrase that's in theme with their world or base.
Yeah. So that way we're going to do a little portrait of each character, and obviously they have a certain house that they inhabit, and it's really colorful. Like, one's a tree house, for example, or there's like a, what's another one? Like, I'm drawing a blank. A cul-de-sac is another one.
Yeah.
So the colorful places, colorful people, and let's try to put something together that ties those things thematically, but as well gives you some goal as a player. Be like, yeah, I want to beat this guy because he's awful and he says horrible puns.
And they'll have a phrase when they meet up with you the first time and a phrase after they lose.
Yeah, which is important too. Kind of give players encouragement or make you laugh again, hopefully, ideally.
We didn't do one for after they win.
Oh, we didn't.
Yes.
We should probably do that.
Yep.
Yes.
Is there more Doc Monkey? I feel like at one point I overheard that there was
Doc Chimp.
Doc Chimp,
Yes.
sorry. There was Doc Chimp in the tutorial, and then I just overheard bits that there was going to be more of him in the game, but I haven't seen it.
Initially, when we were talking about it, we were thinking, oh, what if is Doc Chimp giving you notes about these guys? But then, but then I was like, it's cooler if we have portraits and characters. Let's just have them.
So we went from you describing it to Doc Chimp describing it to now them being
just saying a phrase.
Yeah, to them talking to you, which I think it will work out better in the end. Like I feel like you play it now, you get it like instantly, and be like, oh, this guy doesn't like me. I want to beat him in this video game.
Yeah.
So it's very, very, exactly, very direct, very good. So polished,
simpler contest.
Yes,
simpler contest. Simpler concept.
Yeah, it is simpler, but I think much more effective than what we were originally doing. So you're doing polish pass. I can't talk either, bro. Yeah. Both of us having problems today. Let me drink this water. This will magically solve my problems.
Awesome. The other part of the thumb. See what you did? It's contagious. The other part of the polish I'm working on right now is there's a ton of UI pass, but also customization in the game. So we have different themes. There's like the beast theme and the plush theme and the robot theme, and you can dress your base up in different of those themes, and then have sort of little buildings in that same theme. You can also decorate.
Yeah,
decorative buildings.
Giving players some ownership over their own bases. Kind of, this is unique to me, somewhat.
So I got to do a bunch of concepts for that. So if you guys have any ideas for themes, the buildings and things you want to shoot my way to
mailbag@uberant.com. That's the email address you want to send that stuff to. Mailbag.
Maybe I should post it on the forum too.
I want a space base. That's what I want.
Space
base.
DS9.
Ooh.
DF9.
Well, does DS9 have like a wormhole floating out?
I just want my base in a wormhole. Can we do that?
Yes.
Every time you load it up, it's in a different era of time or something. That's how wormholes work, right?
I do want to do a bacon theme, so we'll see if it makes it in the game.
I've heard that mentioned a couple times.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe it can be a secret. Like you just have to hit a bunch of random buttons and you unlock Bacon Land. I like that. What happened to the cheat codes, Eka? What happened?
Well, there's a lot of places we can hide those.
Yeah, see. There we go. Look for secret content in Toy Rush coming soon for mobile devices and tablets.
Awesome. And Forrest's been busy on Planetary Annihilation.
It's a similar thing with Planetary, right?
Yeah, I mean, so we didn't patch for maybe 2 weeks.
Right.
I think it was one of our longer gaps in alpha and beta because we did some major under-the-hood changes, and then we had to spend an extra bit of time to finish those changes and then to fix all of the issues that come when you make such a big change.
Right. Which, it was a challenge, too, on our part, just thinking about, like, community and marketing and things like that. It's like, when you go that long and then you make changes that aren't readily apparent to people, that's kind of scary, because, like, how do you really talk about that? Because it's just like, well, we can go through the details and talk about our infrastructure, but that's no one wants to read that.
And the changes, a lot of it is, it shows up on the client, on players' machines, but they don't necessarily see it.
Right, yeah.
We did a lot of bandwidth optimization. So the game, is way more efficient on your network connection. But unless you have some little monitoring tool, you don't notice that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so much of game development early on and then later on is just stuff that players will never see. I mean, they might feel it in terms of frame rate and stuff, but it's just so much. There's so much complicated stuff.
There's a lot of stuff that... people don't see it, but they see if you don't do it.
Right.
It's like, oh, this game's laggy, it's hitchy. And the best you can hope for is for them to not complain.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And we've done a lot of AI updates as well.
Yeah.
Mike has done some amazing stuff in the last 3 weeks of like unlocking the potential of our AI.
We hit an inflection point. We're on the forums, people started complaining, or they wanted a feature request to turn the AI down.
Yes.
The AI hit the point where it was too good, and it's so good at building a base, especially in the early game.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
It is just so efficient at spreading across the planet that players want to handicap the AI.
Yeah.
Which there is an option now.
And I believe that's out in the wild now in the latest patch.
Scalable. I think we can do it from 0 to 1.
Yeah, you can scale and this is just the starter.
Yeah, this is all placeholder
just
stuff.
to get something in, you can scale the economy of the AI so it doesn't, it just gets less money so it can't build as fast.
Yeah, so it can't be as crazy. Like, I love the thing that I've been noticing over the last 2 weeks, especially in playtest, a lot of people being like, oh, that's the AI, oh God. I have that reaction where before it was like, oh, it's the AI.
It's just the filler.
Yeah.
I actually like when I'm testing other things, I'll put a couple of AIs in the game, and I'll just let them go and run off and build big bases.
They're fun to watch because they can go interplanetary now, too. So they can take off, go to a moon, put rockets on it.
So we have this debug unit called the Avatar, which it's a fabber, it's an engineer engineer, but it can build anything in the game. It can build it super fast, and it generates just a crap ton of resources.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun to have a couple of AIs, give each one just one fabber, and it just like swirls around the
They
place.
use the debug one too?
They can't, if you put one in,
Oh wow.
you paste the avatar and then just let it run for 3 minutes, and it just goes crazy
We should just
spreading
live
across the
stream that
planet.
one.
Yeah, that seems amazing.
That would actually be really cool.
Yeah.
The AI live stream.
Just watch the AI play against each other
Put
for
in
an
6
hour.
AIs, give it some avatars, and it just goes crazy.
I don't even want to know. That'd be, man. If you make a system big enough, I bet it would just go absolutely nuts.
It's fun to watch.
Of course, I'm having a hard time trying to listen to you with your porn stash.
Yeah, you want
It's
to talk?
coming in pretty strong.
Yours is looking good too.
I know. So, Force and I have never, I don't know, I've never really grown a mustache.
No, I've
facial
never done
hair.
a mustache or even a real beard. I've done the I'm lazy and forgot to shave for a week beard,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I've never actually grown a beard.
So I got my wife's permission to get one because I'm pretty much foregoing sex for men's health. So, there you go, men's health.
There you go. So we're doing Movember, actually,
Movember,
more
yes.
specifically. And well, you can pick the kind of mustache you want to grow, right? That's
Yeah.
the thing. I unfortunately didn't participate because I'm a beautiful man and I can't
Brad
do
thinks
this
he's too
myself.
beautiful for
It's-
Movember, for men's health.
It's well, not men's health, but just hair growth in general. Although I do look bad today, I admit it.
You could grow a great mustache.
I probably could. But
So yeah, I've been approaching it with I don't know what I want to do yet, so it's just handlebars, and then I can always.
Yeah,
Trim
I
it
think
from there.
everyone's starting with the handlebars because you can always trim back.
yeah,
If you go to the Movember site, look for Uber Gents.
Uber
I believe
gents.
so.
Yeah, we took some before pictures, right?
Oh yes,
So-
yeah, we're taking
Yeah.
weekly pictures. So
Yeah,
that's what
Michelle
I do.
started to update, daily progress with people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Michelle's our team captain. She's been doing a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah, she organized the whole thing.
fantastic.
So we'll see how it looks in a month. I really want a Dali like mustache,
that'd
pointed
be
and
good.
waxed, but I don't know if I can do that in a month.
Yeah, I want to be able to like curl the tips up, but that's more than a month.
I have some hair clay. Once you get to that point, we'll do
Hair
it.
clay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I use clay. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but it's nice. So if I get rained on, I can scruff up my hair and everything's fine still. So
Wow.
that's why you do it. That's
This
why you
is
do
the hair
it, boys.
segment of the
Whoa,
podcast.
hold on, boys. All right, so let's talk about the video.
Fashion advice from Uber Entertainment.
People already hate me enough, so let's talk about video games real quick. I guess, okay, so the big game I've been playing this week is Grand Theft Auto, of course, and Forrest hasn't played it yet, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but there was this amazing, only in Grand Theft Auto scene that I experienced, and I guess maybe it would work in a Max Payne, but I don't really think they're going to do one again. So anyway, the crazy guy in the game, Trevor, which we've talked about before, let me back up a little bit more. Every time you switch characters in the game, like the camera does this thing where it pulls all the way out into the sky, and then it starts pulling back into whatever character you picked. And they do this really good. They have like little scenes that introduce every character. So sometimes they're outside a bar, sometimes they're at home watching TV, whatever. There was this one with Trevor the other day that just cracked me up endlessly. So it pulls out, then it starts zooming in onto an island in the middle of the game's ocean, basically. And it's Trevor in his underwear. He's got a bottle beside him. He's leaning against a rock. He's asleep. There's dead bodies all over the place. Wakes up. I didn't do it. Throws the bottle. And you're just stuck on an island in your underwear. No vehicles in sight.
Is there a boat?
No. I just swim to shore
way.
and steal someone's boat so I could get into the city. It was ridiculous, and I mean it was the best gag I've seen in a game in a really long time.
What I find fascinating with those moments where you switch characters and it goes into satellite view and comes back down, obviously because they're loading, but they hide it well. I'll do a job with all three characters, then I'll switch characters, and they're not random moments. They're like kind of related to what just happened,
Yeah.
or I've had it where after a job I'm getting chased by the police, so I try to outrun them, and then you switch characters, and like Trevor will be trying to get away from the cops. Or
Yeah.
He's hiding out in the middle of nowhere trying to get. It's so well done. I don't know what the system is there in place to handle that, but it's amazing.
It's incredible. I mean, you look up and you expect a skybox, and there's just not one or something. I don't know what they do. But when you take off in a 747, there's just so much room in the world. I've yet to hit the ceiling, which is something you can do pretty easily in games like Just Cause or whatever. But I guess those planes are also
Or space engineers.
Yes. Yeah. We hit the skybox pretty quick in that. Yeah. I put 40, 50, 70 thrusters on the back of a small aircraft and decided to try to hit the moon. And
We found out the moon was just painted.
massive disappointments. That took a lot of work making that ship horrible and fast. Oh God, I'm the worst engineer ever. But I guess the other game I'm playing is Eldritch, which is a voxel. Is that the word for it for the Minecraft visuals? A voxel-based video game.
So I don't know. I mean, Minecraft is using more voxel, but like Eldritch, is there base building and stuff? Like, is this used?
No.
Okay,
No.
so I think it has just a low poly look.
Okay, low poly look.
Like it has not non-filtered textures and kind of early '90s look. I think it's a stylistic choice more than anything else.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
so is it 3D like Minecraft?
It's 3D.
is?
It's 3D.
Yes.
First person 3D with super low poly limbs.
And it's a roguelike, so I think there are 4 levels in the game. I wouldn't know, because it's still in the first level. And you just run around in this, like, a 3-tier square that they make filled with other smaller squares. So I think it's like 4x4 each tier of the level. And I guess the point is to collect artifacts and then find the exit. But there are enemies roving around all over the place, and you take too many hits, which is to say 3 hits, and you die permanently. You're just done. Which kind of brings me to the thing. I like roguelikes. I like the idea of roguelikes. But I want some kind of persistence, which I know kind of flies in the face of the whole roguelike thing.
But there are roguelikes.
Like Rogue Legacy was fantastic. Like you did this thing, you died permanently, but there was some persistence there. Your gold carried over. You got some skills.
I mean,
you got some stats.
a lot of roguelikes have that. FTL, you unlock other ships.
Yes.
I mean, is Don't Starve considered a roguelike?
I don't know.
Permadeath?
Yeah.
There's permadeath.
Yeah, sure.
But it's kind of a weird. I like the stuff they have, which is also there's like this building aspect.
Yeah.
Plus the survival aspect.
Yeah, they strike a really good balance in that game too, just in general. But like Eldritch just drive me nuts because I'm not good enough to play that game the way I'm supposed to. It's supposedly a stealth game, and I don't do that at all. Like I do not have the patience to attack things from behind or watch things pass. Especially, I'm an aggressive video game player, I would say, and
I wouldn't have thought of that.
yeah,
About
exactly.
Shocking.
Yeah. Shocking.
Brad's a go-getter. Who knew?
Binding of Isaac. That's
Yeah.
considered more of a rogue-like, I guess.
Okay.
I think the only universal mandatory requirement of roguelikes is permadeath. And beyond that, everyone has their own opinions. Like, oh, it must have this or it can't have that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sort of tweaks to the formula that we've seen.
Yeah.
Like the
Oh,
games
yeah.
that are doing pretty well. Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, I can see people really enjoying this game. You can clamber up blocks, which is a nice improvement over Minecraft, which is like, you have to kind of jump one by one. But, neat game, neat style, I guess. I just kind of wish that it would reward people who play the game terribly like me. That would be nice. But maybe I'm being crazy. I'm not sure. Anyway, Echo, what you been playing, man?
Tiny Death Star came out
Tiny Death Star.
last night so it's interesting. It's Nimblebit's Tiny Tower. I mean, the same art style. With Disney Interactive doing the game. I don't think Nimblebit guys worked on it.
All the dev was Disney Interactive.
Yeah, Disney Interactive. So it's taking Star Wars.
Yeah.
You've heard of this, Star Wars?
Yes.
I hear it's a thing.
I'm familiar.
Star Wars
I think.
and Tiny Tower. So
Is Captain Kirk in it?
Yes.
Okay.
He dies. First
wow.
death.
What? Spoiler.
Yeah. Jabba the Hutt kills him.
What?
So you are the Emperor. Well, okay, yeah, you're the Emperor. You work for the Emperor.
Oh,
The
interesting.
Empire. Emperor and Darth Vader, in the intro, they're like, hey, we're kind of running out of money. So we're going to sublease this new Death Star we're building, some of the floors,
Yeah.
to these other people. So
Oh, that's rad.
So Ewoks will come in. So you have the different floors, like in Tiny Tower. I mean, you're looking at a. My son asked me this. He's like, "Isn't the Death Star round?" I'm like,
Yes.
"Yes, it's round." But in this, we're so close into one of the floors that you just see the
Right.
tower. So you build the tower. It's just like the gameplay is very much Tiny
It's
Tower.
Tiny Tower, but with Star Wars.
Yeah.
And the random name generator for the characters, it just took all the lore characters from Star Wars
And
they
just jammed it all
jammed
together.
It's
oh,
awesome.
perfect.
So on top of that, every time you come back to the game, it's the shot of the Emperor in his chair, and he turns around and says, "While you were away, you earned this many coins." And it's like, oh, I love it. When you have when you get a notification,
Yeah.
it's R2D2.
Are you kidding me? Oh man.
Like all the sounds just got me hooked. Like just it's Tiny Tower, which I loved, but like just getting all the sort of the audio, the characters and everything in Nimblebit style, it's fantastic. Really well done. Oh, there is another component. You can interrogate, torture rebels. So you start building up for like the spa, the whatever, the club and residential areas, and you can start building down for the interrogation area.
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah, I'm looking at the screenshots, and there's, apartments and, little shops were going up. And then it says, conspire in underground levels. There's an interrogation room, blast doors, tractor beam. And...
Yep. The thing that, man, I couldn't get over is the sound of the elevator. Like, the Tiny Tower had a really good, in between things, random people show up, they get in the elevator, and they say they want to go to floor 2 or 3, and you get little coins, right? They do a lot of that sort of in between money gaining, money making techniques in the game.
Yeah.
But in the Star Wars Tiny Death Star version, the sound of the elevator and how it stops and the door opens.
You don't like it?
No, it's awesome.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Like, just that alone. Like,
is it just like straight sounds from the movies?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It just feels like it
feels like Star Wars.
It feels like Star Wars.
This offhand kind of thing. Really excited about Star Wars Battlefield. That looks really good. They teased it. That was real. That's a real thing, I swear. Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Please.
The Battlefront games?
Battlefront games?
It's going to be like that. Oh, man.
Everybody wants a Battlefront 3. Those two games did so well. Like for
It's weird because the first one came out on PS2, I think.
Yeah.
And I never really played it. None of my friends played it. And I saw, a couple years later, it was the best-selling Star Wars video game of all time.
It's Battlefield with Star Wars.
Yeah.
On console. It was awesome.
It's just incredible. Like, for me, like, when I first started playing the game, it was the first time I was I've ever seen, like, being able to be on the ground and then get into a vehicle and do something. Mm-hmm. That was incredible. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was just like, what? The scale. Being able to fly from, like, ship to ship, for example, was incredible. That was just awe-inspiring at the time, for me, at least.
I love the scale of Battlefield 1942. I wish we could get that again.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Hard to do with Star Wars, I guess, though. I mean, AT-ATs are about the size of one of those islands.
No, I meant like just the simplicity of the gameplay.
Oh, right. How they really streamlined it down.
Yeah, and taking a bunch of people trying to stay on the wing of a bomber, really trying to fly it. It's those things like that they didn't take themselves too seriously.
The goofy stuff in Battlefield is always like that's the best part of the game.
Yeah, they kind of gotten away from. I mean, that's what I liked about Bad Company. That's like of all the. I'm not a huge Battlefield fan, but like Bad Company 2, I felt was just. Those characters were so interesting, and made it stand out from the Call of Duty type approach to games.
I tried to play Battlefield 3 a little bit. I wasn't too much of a fan. The jet level was amazing though. Did you guys get to that?
Oh, it's like the second level. Whew, that was so good.
Yeah, the visuals are fantastic.
Dude, the sense of speed that they were able to imbue to the player.
You start off inside the aircraft carrier, and then you walk out onto the deck. Like the sea is raging.
Oh.
You get into the shit like that. And then you're basically playing Goose from Top Gun, looking around in the backseat. There's an Oculus Rift game to be made there where you are Goose. And that's it. You're just looking around, trying to keep up with the enemy playing.
I want to flip my virtual bird.
Yeah. Oh, man. My favorite thing in Battlefield, I guess 1942 specifically, is watching the biplanes just wreck all the time because nobody can control planes. You'd be like trying to grab a flag, you'd be in your tank like in the middle of a ditch, and all of a sudden a plane would just smash.
Planes are so hard. I just remember, I mean, this is when I worked at Shiny Entertainment, and the whole studio would play.
Yeah.
We had guys that were like serious, had the flight sticks. They were trying to like super pros because the planes are
you need a flight stick for that game.
Yeah. If you could pull that off, you're badass.
Yeah, for sure. The jets, like specifically multiplayer in Battlefield 3, impossible for me. I could never get in one and control one.
Helicopters were really hard too, right?
Helicopters got a little bit easier, I would argue, in Battlefield 3 at least. Or at least
but they're still ridiculously hard.
Brad Nicholson Air was always my favorite thing to do. So you put some C4 on the inside of that, be the pilot, grab a bunch of dudes, bail maybe at the last second while they're still up in the air, they don't know what's going on, blow it up.
Your teammates.
Yes.
You're that guy.
You're
the guy that everyone hates.
In a previous Battlefield, I can't remember which one it was. What I used to do, there was this level with a bunch of high buildings, and I used to, wait in the helicopter, wait till I get 4 or 5 people, and then get really high up in the air so nobody could actually see the buildings anymore, and then just aim it down a little bit so like their sight line could still barely see it, and then bail. And just wait like a good 10 seconds while I'm parachuting down to watch the entire thing blow up and all your teammates.
You're a terrible person.
Oh,
you are.
I'm the worst, but
terrible.
There's no better feeling than watching all your teammates die because you're an idiot. So, what have you been playing, man? What have you been doing?
I mean, so I always checked out, the Tiny Death Star. I've still been playing Hearthstone.
Yeah,
It's good. It still got me.
I tried to play it at home. It failed installing.
What?
And I don't know what
Really?
happened. Yeah. So
Maybe you need the Battle.net installer. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No,
Okay.
it's like go download the installer for Hearthstone. I get it.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think there's just a problem for that's just one of their bugs, and there's some file you have to delete.
I'm like, what do I do now? I didn't care enough to research
Yeah.
it. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
That's why
I'll
it's
go
in
play-
beta.
I'll go play something else.
Yeah.
'Cause I really want to see it.
Tell me, what are you like? What are you liking about it right now? Like as a player who has played it continuously, actually. So what's your thing? Like what's
Well, I
drawing
mean,
you?
so I've been going through the arena, which is the drafting mode where you pick together your deck, and I'm now have collected enough cards that I can start crafting my own decks.
Have you spent money?
A little bit of money?
A little bit of money?
I think maybe $10.
Okay, that's not bad.
You
I like
know.
it though. I like it. Spending that money. Can you, if you do they have the option where like you can give them $20 for like a super card? Can you do that kind of stuff? Yet?
No, so you just buy a card, like you can spend the $2 to play the arena or the
Yeah.
gold, and then you buy packs. That's it.
Okay.
You can craft cards. So they have like arcane dust, and any card you have you can disenchant into dust, and then you can craft a specific card. So if there's one card that you really, really wanted and you didn't want to buy just a whole bunch of packs and hope you get it, you could buy a few packs, disenchant everything in those packs, and then buy the card you wanted.
Okay. All right. Wow.
But I haven't had a need to do that. I've just, $10 worth of packs, get,
Yeah.
a pretty good collection of cards.
And you've been playing kind of like that draft mode, just doing that thing, kind of customizing your own stuff.
Well, the draft mode and now that I have more, because every time you play through the arena, you'll get one pack at
Yeah.
the end. So, you'll get a few more cards. And then, once you get enough cards, you can start making some really interesting decks. They have a lot of cards that combo.
Okay. Okay. So you can really build something that would just totally bone somebody in multiplayer. Is that your end goal? Is really just kind of?
I mean, definitely the goal is to beat some other person.
Yeah. Have you done that yet? You've been playing multiplayer, right?
Well, I mean, the game's pretty much only against other players.
Okay.
There's AI, but
I get what you're saying. Okay.
you play almost exclusively against other players.
Okay.
So when you first start out, it's AI training.
Yeah, there's I think five or six, like tutorial set of levels. So you go through 5-6 games, and they're very prepared to teach you specific mechanics, and then they kind of set you free, and then you can play the arena, you can play against other players, and AI. But the AI is really just to get the training wheels off.
How long is the beta going to go on for? Did it say?
So I think Activision released quarterly results this week, and they kind of subtly said in there that the release will be 2014.
Oh, okay.
Which
Oh,
it's
wow.
November, so that's not that far away still, but at least 2 months.
God, that game looks so done as well, but it's Blizzard at the same time.
2014. They didn't say when, right?
Yeah, I didn't say when. They just say it's been because they
could
were
be-
trying to ship in 2013,
Oh, okay.
and they said, we're pushing it back to 2014.
They could have said winter 2013, which still would be January.
Well, if they said winter season. If they said winter 2013,
Yeah, that's true.
That's very true. That's very true. Well, is that your last game of the week? Hearthstone just got you?
Oh, well, so I haven't played it yet, but some of our dev friends released Football Heroes
Yes.
Oh, right.
on iOS, and it came out today.
Yes, I played a little bit of it.
So
John Combs has been playing it a lot. He's on the beta, whatever. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's Tecmo Bowl
Yeah.
with
That's the thing I like the most
updated
about
with
it.
some like powers and things and really nice art style. It's come a long way. Looks really fun. I gotta check that out.
Yeah. Tecmo Bowl on your iPhone, iPad. I guess you do have superpowers in the game.
Man, it's tough coming out. That game coming out the same day as Tiny Death Star and Lego Harry Potter or something.
Or Lego Marvel. Oh no, Lego Lord of the Rings on mobile.
that's a tough
and
day.
Rayman Fiesta Run.
Right.
Man, that's a bummer. Hopefully they can
it's
outlast
a tough
that.
day.
Yeah. So, with that, let's go to the mailbag, actually, before we run out of time this week. Last 2 weeks, I wanted to hit some mailbag questions. Mailbag@uberrints.com. That's the email address. You want to send in your questions. This first one comes from Tommy. I'm going to read it. It's long, but I feel like reading. Great to hear you still casting pods and fascinating inside baseball talk, too. He says, hey, Brad, this is for me, guys. Speaking of which, I have a question for Forrest. Oh. Never mind, now it's for you. On the second episode, you mentioned your engines are in-house. Have you had many cases of engine inspiration at Uber? By that I mean, are there any pieces of code for particular specific problems, like, for example, NetPlay, that could be traced back to other people's work? I've been wondering about this in a broader sense lately while looking through the Doom 3 BFG code. It's not uncommon to hear musicians or movie directors hold up certain artists' work as inspiration, but I don't recall hearing game devs saying stuff like, we implemented our game loop in a similar manner to Quake 1 or something to that effect. Digging the show, and of course, hashtag Team Nicholson.
Nice.
Okay.
Did you get all that?
I think so.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things here. You know, for game engines, I don't think you reference specific code in the same way. You know, he talked about the Doom 3 BFG code base, and devs you don't typically get to see the actual code from other games. You know, no one here has seen any code from Halo or Call of Duty or any of those games. It's all proprietary. But you do see the way their code works, so the higher level stuff.
So like a philosophy of style, or?
Yeah, I mean, and then so for Planetary Annihilation specifically, there was a lot of very specific things we wanted that came from a lot of the dev team worked on Supreme Commander. A lot of the dev team worked on Total Annihilation. You know, Combs worked on Command and Conquer. So there's all of these other RTS games that they did things different ways, and so that served as inspiration for what worked and what didn't work.
Or what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
Based on that experience.
You know, so and Maver kind of set out these points. You know, from when Planetary Annihilation was getting started, there was a couple of key goals that he had in mind for the project. Wanted huge games with 40 players. That's been kind of a target for a while. So, lots of players. And then, so a major issue Supreme Commander had was if there was a slow player connected to a game, it could slow down the game for everyone else.
So the game was as fast as the slowest player.
Yeah, the game was as fast as the slowest player.
Ouch.
Which can be quite slow.
Yes.
When we say slow player, it's their connection, it's their hardware.
Bandwidth and CPU.
Right.
So the way those games work is everyone is running the full simulation. They're simulating all the projectiles flying through the air. And if one computer is really slow, the other players have to wait because they're on lockstep. They're all going.
Oh, gosh.
They're all processing the exact same frame together. And it's really nice because it requires almost no bandwidth to do that. You have to send player input. If all the players have all the input, then they can recreate the exact same game.
And that's where StarCraft runs.
That definitely StarCraft 1. I think they have a little bit of a hybrid approach in some ways, but underneath the layers, I think they are synchronous is the term for that.
Yep.
And we didn't want to do that for Planetary Annihilation because we want big games on lots of planets with lots of players that a player just can't simulate the entire world. So big games, players can't slow it down. We wanted features, join in progress, which is a major issue with games like StarCraft, because if every player is simulating the game and you disconnect, to reconnect you have to re-simulate everything to catch up.
Oh, yeah.
And so we want to be able to do that. We want players to be able to come and leave the game and come back. There's interesting ideas for, there's one army controlled by multiple players, or if it's a really long game, you could work in shifts, and trade off.
Nice.
And to support features like that, those were the goals that then inspired the technology, implementations. I don't know if that answers his question at all. I almost forget his question.
You know what? It seems like it did. And Tommy, if you want to ask follow-up, please go ahead. Forrest is on call all the time.
24/7.
There's a bit of that too. I think this happens with art too. Like as a young programmer who's playing some other games, and you think you have an idea of how this person did something, and you try to emulate it, and doing so you really don't because you can't see their code.
Yeah.
And doing so end up solving some other problems or find a different way to approach it.
Yeah.
Like I've had that where I'm like, I like that artist. I want to see if I can do that, and I kind of go down that path. You end up coming up with something different. I think I've seen a lot of that with like up and coming new devs too. That like hey, I want to do what these guys are doing, but without knowing exactly how they do it or not knowing how impossible that is.
Right.
They tackle it on. They tackle that issue and then still come up with something interesting. I think that's so. I think there's some inspiration.
Yeah. I mean, I think the way it would work here is we picked out our goals, these things we want to do. We want big games, lots of players.
Yeah.
So now that we know what we want, what games have achieved that? Or what parts of games have achieved that or not? Supreme Commander did not support really big games because of the synchronous engine. Total Annihilation was a little bit different, and Maver worked on that. And so he really wanted the client-server architecture. And, I guess if you pick your goals, the solution kind of falls out from it.
Yeah, it would have to, yeah.
And the client-server approach, we had a lot of that with the Ubernet backend through Monday Night Combat and all that stuff, too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, it let us leverage tech we already had for our server hosting.
Yeah, so it was all there, all good. All good. So, second question comes in from James. I'm not sure if this is an appropriate topic for the podcast. It is, because we're reading it, so how about that? But I'd like to hear Uber's opinion. What I'm wondering is, what do you think about the community you have attracted for the MNC games? Because it's strangely disproportionate, but in a good way, in my opinion. SMNC seems to have extracted an extremely large amount of LGBT users and allies. The question is, why do you think SMNC has done that?
Yeah, so I think James reached out to me on Steam Chat because he was like, "Is this an okay question to ask?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a great question because it's not something we've actively thought about." I mean, when we like designed the characters for MNC, first it's like, does it fit the world? Okay, the world is this fantastical alternate sport, combat sport of the future. So when I first came up with the original 6 characters, it's like I want to have very different personalities, and different personalities you don't really see in shooters.
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
as we expanded to, by the way, the first game, a lot of players liked the assassin as one of the favorite characters. A lot of players that
Other
played
players
the game
like the
hated
assassin.
it. But it was
Nope.
it was a character you don't a typical character you typically see. So and then with SMNC, wanted to expand the roster, so it's like it was trying to fill gaps of different personalities, archetypes, and that would fit in between. And then we just that was the approach. It wasn't like, hey, we need a straight character or we need a gay character here.
Right.
I think it's just the type, trying to expand the type of personalities in the game and still make them. They're still caricatures, right? They're
right.
Like you want them to be over the top and have a specific point of view. So it's just, I think it naturally came out that way. The gameplay is a little different than most FPSs, I think, too.
Yeah,
so
that's true as well. It's a different kind of game altogether.
Yeah, so maybe it's the gameplay approach and also the fictional approach to character designs. I mean, we have stuff like the Wascot, which, or Megabeth, roll skating. I think we did like a rainbow theme around that, and people really dug that. Oh yeah, there's a whole My Little Pony. People are like, "Oh, you're trying to do My Little Pony stuff." It was intentional, but it just thought it'd be fun to do. And I think it was a sort of a natural.
I haven't thought about it before now, but you're just talking about, we had this wider range of personalities, to fill in these gaps. But then there was a lot of stuff in the game to show those personalities off the players. We had a lot of VO.
Yes.
So anytime you die or you kill someone,
Yeah.
all these different personalities, it actually shows up in the game.
Yeah, when we expanded from 6 to 17, I kind of took like personality traits from like a couple of the characters and sort of melded those together to come up with someone new, and that's sort of the gameplay approach. The same way, it's like we like this ability, and this. What if we had another character that's similar but had these sort of other abilities or other weapon types? And I really like the world a lot, and I feel like we came up with something original. When we were first pitching the game to publishers early on, like combat sport was just a horrible. People thought about like rollerball and like really cheesy.
Oh God.
Really cheesy bad game. So it wasn't really I think we came up with something unique along the way. I mean, a lot of inspiration of like Running Man and RoboCop and Verhoeven, sort of that thing, and then
God bless Verhoeven.
Yeah, Idiocracy was a huge inspiration. Just sort of the tongue-in-cheek, a little bit bleak future, but we were trying to always. And the writing of it, we were trying to not do it completely.
Totally, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was the bleakest of bleak futures. I mean, that is an awful future. That is the worst kind of future you could possibly have. But Monday Night Combat plays it off so well. It's like, well, screw it. Let's do this.
Yeah,
let's play this game.
Yeah, the question is, I think it's just accidental. We weren't trying to or not try to on purpose. We just wanted to have a wide range of characters and
that everyone could like.
Yeah. Not that everyone has to like every character. I mean, like Wascot was definitely, some people will get freaked out by it, and that's the goal. That's fine. Like, wanted to make sure.
I feel like there was some feedback on animations for him, like, it's not creepy enough.
Yes.
You make him a little bit
I remember
creepier.
saying that. Like, it needs to be a little creepier. That was because his whole personality was like this super fan of Mascot, so he dressed like him, and he wanted to be with him, and I think we gave him this really creepy voice, and his gameplay style is very trolly too, and it kind of all fit together. So Some people really hated playing because when he grabs you and spanks you, you're screwed.
Oh man, that guy is
Yeah.
the worst.
So
Playing against.
I think it was just a necessity of sort of the world that the rules of the world we set up, the necessity of gameplay that, if we end up doing another Monday Night Combat in the future, I would like to expand the roster even more.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Well, we are at the mark this week here, but fantastic podcast. We'll do some news next week. PS4 comes out next week. Any of you guys, neither of you got one, right?
You have one on order, right?
Well,
first?
I still have PS4 and Xbox One on Amazon day
You better
one
cancel that, buddy,
pre-order.
'cause that thing's going to ship.
So I don't know what to do. Do I keep it? Do I sell it to a friend?
Can you order one now,
Uh,
or are they all sold out?
you can't order day one right now.
I'll buy it from you for $5.
No.
We could talk later. Or I could just, intercept the package.
I mean, the deliveries do come to you.
Yes, I
Like,
do.
Amazon said my PlayStation is delivered, but I haven't seen it today.
And
Forrest and Brad both are stood by the door, so it might be.
You'd have to catch him in the hallway.
Right.
Like, I'll sign for that right here. Just run down to his car.
yeah, exactly. No,
I don't have a console on pre-order.
I don't. Again, my stand is still strong until probably the day it comes out, and then I'll probably. buy it
thinking
from
the same
Forrest.
thing. I'm thinking like
So,
day
well,
one,
here's
I'll
the-
go grab one.
What if it came out and you could buy one right then for $200 above face value?
Yes.
Would you go for that?
Probably.
Awesome.
I have no ability to restrain myself around new technology. It is sad.
Though my only inability to do that is just time. I don't have time to play it, so I'm like, I'll just wait.
Yeah. No.
I will definitely have both eventually,
Right.
But I don't know if I'll keep one of them this Christmas or cancel. I don't have much time to cancel.
Just get an Xbox One. We'll play Call of Duty together.
From what I understand, the amount of people that have both is pretty low in the last gen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they came out a year apart from each other,
Yeah. A little bit more actually.
so
I think,
this will be interesting. I mean, these are coming a week apart.
which is
so-
way close.
Which is what I tweeted about this, I think, yesterday, about like I'm interested in the conversation past the point. People are talking about like, 720p and 1080p, and like, fine. Like, what's the conversation about the games is what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely.
good. And we'll be done with the hardware talk, hopefully.
Yeah.
Some people are never done with it, but
No.
I mean, we'll see how the games play. I mean,
Yeah.
it was interesting to read some of the reviews on
Seems like folks
Call
are
of Duty.
struggling,
Yeah.
which is understandable. A brand new system,
Yeah.
essentially brand new architecture.
Yeah, I mean, launch games have always been super tough.
Dude,
to
it's tough.
learn the hardware.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing a split gen game built on an engine for a console that was in last generation, trying to.
The people that are doing games that are 360, PS3, PS4, Xbox One.
Have we
That's
ever
awesome.
had that? That's
Crazy.
crazy.
God bless them.
I mean, two major titles. Like, shipping a game on new hardware is just insanely hard because
Yeah.
you don't know what the final hardware is going to be. You don't have final hardware.
Yeah.
A year and a half before launch, you just have a computer and they say, we think the console might be kind of sort of similar to this.
It's always fun the year after to see the games come out. Like
Yeah.
the next gen.
I
or
saw
second gen.
screenshots this week showing Oblivion versus Skyrim
Oh, yeah.
on Xbox 360.
Incredible, isn't it?
It looked like a modern game versus a PS2 game.
Yeah,
it
basically.
was
Crazy.
crazy.
So that'll be it for this week. If you'd like to follow us on the Twitter or the Facebook, it's real easy. Just UberAnt, type that into Facebook, or at UberAnt on the Twitters. Of course, we have an email address, which I've said like 800 times, but I'll do it again one more time. mailbag@uberant.com. And of course, we have personal Twitters. Mine's Nicholson B. Echoes, what's yours?
At Ekanaut, EKANAUT.
And Forrest.
At Forest the Woods with 2 R's.
Perfect. Hey, keep it real, guys. We'll be back next week for another episode of Uber Unplugged.
All right.
Nailed it.
I'd say so.